market and say, this is what our residents want, this is how we can help them save some money, but we don't have to take on the burden of owning the distribution system and maintaining the distribution system that would normally go hand in hand with sort of that public control over the supply option. The result is the group buying power. The real premise here is that by aggregating across municipalities, there's enough buying power to really bring the benefits of the electric market deregulation to small customers that traditionally really haven't seen too much of a price benefit from deregulation. Some of the larger customers that can sort of negotiate with their suppliers have seen a benefit. But through CCA, we're hoping that sort of the combined power of group purchasing can lead to some significant savings for residents. And a key here on the slide is it's no cost to the municipality. And I'll explain sort of how this works in a subsequent slide. So a quick overview of community choice aggregation in New York. The Public Service Commission authorized a pilot program that was managed by a nonprofit in Westchester County called Sustainable Westchester. Their CCA program launched in May of this year. And I guess I'll take this moment to sort of explain the pricing mechanism here. So they were able to sort of look backwards at the trailing average supply rate for customers in their service area, if you will. And they did presentations like these and went out to the market and said, okay, if we have approximately this many buyers, what would the price be to offer them a decent supply rate? And so they were able to sort of compare that previous average price to the new offered price. And that difference is what constitutes really the 4 to 5 million of savings that's in this presentation and in the brochure. The Public Service Commission issued an order in late April that defines the mechanism based on Westchester's pilot project, defines the mechanism on sort of how to roll out the CCA and make it available as an option statewide. And again, Renewable Highlands is simply doing the legwork of getting out in front of municipalities and trying to sort of make them aware of this new policy tool. So a few notes on sort of the structure of how a program would work. The funding for operating it and really design, implementation, and operation comes out of the savings. So it's not an upfront cost. If you have an example, if the new rate is going to save a group of municipalities and their residents about 10% on their supply rate, the cost of the program might be about 1%. So in the end, net of fees, they might be saving 9%. The administrator role is a role that's defined in the Public Service Commission order, and it's responsible for a number of aspects that require a fair amount of technical expertise and sort of experience. And so due to those sort of characteristics, we're recommending the firm that helped shape and implement the Westchester program. They're called Jewel Assets. They're relatively local. They're in Westchester, and they have the capacity to help design and implement one of these programs. And then the key here is, as I said, we're talking about a program that creates a new default supply for the local area, for the area of the municipalities that choose to participate. And key to that is anyone who lives within those boundaries can opt out of the program without cost and return to the local utility to supply at any time. So that's really key to sort of making the program work. The benefits of the program really start with the upfront savings. So, in that example, the 10% savings to residents and small businesses. The other benefit that sort of fits in line on the financial side is, when you go out to bid and you select a supplier, you as the municipality or the group of municipalities are naming sort of the criteria under which you would participate. So you could say we want 3-year supply or 2-year supply rate, locked in rate that's lower than the previous average 12-month rate or something like along those lines. So aside from savings, you benefit, people who are in the program benefit from sort of price certainty, and they know what their price will be for a longer period of time than they may otherwise be able to tell. And then beyond that, it really becomes a platform for additional opportunities that can drive down costs as well. Those might include local energy generation options, energy efficiency programs, sort of organizing when peak load occurs to try to reduce that overall rate. That's called demand response. And then there's a resiliency argument as well. There's ways to work that into the program. It's a little bit of a more complicated aspect than we might have time for tonight, but I just wanted to mention it. On the last slide, I just outlined some next steps. We're requesting that municipalities we talk to pass a completely non-binding resolution of support if they are interested in finding out more about the program. We would ask that you meet with us and this firm I mentioned earlier, Jewel Assets, to sort of identify what your local priorities would be and what sort of the characteristics you would look for in an energy supply contract. The Public Service Commission's order does require that municipalities that participate would pass a local law that would enable their participation. And then once that's done, the process can start to launch a request for proposals that would go to the market and sort of solicit proposals from energy suppliers. And that's really the last step that the municipality would be involved in. Once the supplier is selected, that selected supplier would need to sort of manage the outreach and the notification and that aspect of the program. And that too is very well laid out in the Public Service Commission order. So there's a very clear set of rules and ways to do that. So that's the end of the presentation. I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Michael, just to start along the line, thanks for coming, but along with this, besides just the town of Wappinger is looking into this, and the village of Wappinger is also looking into this. This is where it came from, so I don't know how far along they've got.
As well as the city of Beacon, the town of Phillipstown, a number of smaller villages. We've also met with the city of Newburgh. So we're trying to cast a wide net.
Am I understanding this right? Because maybe I'm just reading it wrong. We're going to force all of the people in the town of Poughkeepsie to participate, and then they can opt out at no charge. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
We're going to pass a local law, and we're going to say you're all going to be in this, but you can opt out at no charge.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a forced thing. It only goes forward if there's a savings, right? So
No. I'm much more basic than that.
Okay.
We have to pass a local law that says the town of Poughkeepsie is doing this, you're all in it. If you want to opt out, you can do that for free. Am I saying that right? Am I understanding that right?
That's basically right.
Okay. So you want the local government to tell its citizens what it's going to do. And then if they don't like it, they can opt out after we take our action?
Yeah, because the whole deal was, Bill, to get the volume of people.
I understand what the whole deal is, but it seems to me that a private company is trying to use a government entity to get the customer base they need.
Private company is actually using a government entity to help get the customers a cheaper price is what the bottom line is.
Okay.
Well, I can't say anything but you're right. The modifier I would add to it is the premise is that nothing happens. If bids all come back higher than, say, the last 12-month price, nothing happens. The program's dead on arrival. So, if the town said we want 5% savings, minimum, and then a bid came back with 4%, nothing happens. So the reason why I believe that the Public Service Commission allowed that structure to happen is because of sort of the town's involvement in saying what that criteria would be. So if your criteria was 5% savings and you got a bid that was 5%, then the people in the town would be enrolled in the program. And if they didn't like it for another reason, they would be free to leave it without any issue.
Were you involved in Westchester when they did the one down there?
I was not involved.
No?
Yeah, because one of the questions when we were talking earlier was, what percentage of the people in Westchester have chosen to opt out of the Westchester?
I would like to answer that with a bit of an asterisk. I think it's lower than 5%, but I want to check and get back to you before I sort of lock that in.
And also another thing is, this is not exactly everyone. If people have already made another selection for their energy, they stay with the people they've selected. Because we've all received these phone calls, so if you've decided to go with another delivery, it's delivery or supply?
Supply.
If you've just already chosen to go with another supply for your electricity, you stay with them. And it's just the people who've never made a selection, like myself, who stayed with Central Hudson. So we're only talking about the Central Hudson customers.
And it also doesn't change your supplier either.
Right,
Doesn't
but
change
Central
the
Hudson
delivery.
continues to be the supplier.
Yeah, it doesn't change the delivery.
So is that correct?
You are exactly
Yeah.
correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so then we're not forcing everybody out.
No.
Some people have opted out already.
What I read was,
Yeah.
we passed the ordinance, everybody goes in, then they can opt out.
I'm sorry for that. It should be the customers that are currently with the local default supplier are automatically enrolled
Are automatically enrolled
in
in,
this program.
so they don't get to keep the one they picked.
Because you're basically saying.
This is the decision point as far as I'm concerned.
No, I agree with you, and I'm trying to be clear.
Okay.
In our case, Central Hudson is our supplier, right?
Right?
They're
But-
the default supplier.
Yeah, but we're in a deregulated market, so some people may have chosen to go with another supplier,
Right.
right? What I'm trying to say is that the people that will be automatically enrolled in this program are the people that are currently still with Central Hudson that have not made that choice already.
Okay, so we're not forcing everybody in.
Just Central Hudson.
If that group of
Okay,
people
yeah.
are still out, then the government's not forcing them to do something. They're out and they don't even have to opt out. They're completely out.
That's correct.
Okay, so you're only dealing then with the people who haven't selected another
Right.
supplier.
Yes, sorry that wasn't clearer. That's correct.
Okay, and we're going to tell them that as of whatever date we pass the law, they're all in this plan.
It works, yes. I mean, the date is different. The timing of the thing is
I
different, but
understand. I'm
yes.
trying to do the basic level here.
Yes.
So I understand it. Sometimes I don't understand stuff.
Fair.
So, the people who have chosen another outside supplier stay the same, nothing happens to them. The people who have not chosen an outside supplier, when we pass the law, go into your program.
Yes.
Okay.
But let's just clarify supplier. Who's the supplier? Central Hudson, correct?
Right now, the default supplier is Central Hudson,
Okay, but there is no other supplier. Are you bringing a different supplier to the program?
there are a number of
many
other
suppliers
suppliers.
out
You
there.
can go on a number of different websites and just choose to join another supplier.
So
and have them-
who's your supplier?
So that's, the program's job is to, once enough municipalities are engaged, to go out through an RFP and select a supplier.
Okay,
So, and seek bids and then go through the evaluation process and select a supplier. So, I can give you the example of the Westchester case, right? They served 2 utility service territories, so it gets a little bit more complicated, but, part of their group in this program, or their similar program, was in Con Ed territory, and then part of it was in New York State Electric and Gas territory. And in one territory, they selected, I think, a group called Constellation, and then in another group, in the other territory, they selected a group that's called Con Ed Solutions, which is sort of a
Same.
sister company to Con Ed, but due to sort of the dynamics of the market, they're different companies.
okay. The only thing is that residents now they get one bill, gas and electric. Is this going to be a separate bill if this goes through?
It is not a separate bill. So if you were to switch today to a different supplier, you'd still get one bill, and it would just have a different supplier printed on that bill. And the same is true through this.
There's many different suppliers now, Joe. They got, Central Hudson was the supplier for years. Then when they deregulated, there's other suppliers. You hear Ambit, Meridian, all these companies, you still get one Central Hudson bill, but it says your supplier, and then it's your provider. Isn't that how it goes? It's deliverer. The one guy delivers the energy, which is Central Hudson will always deliver your energy, no matter what. They own the lines, they deliver the energy, and whatever company you opt out for. If you go on Public Service Commission, there's probably easily 10 companies on there, and they list their prices of what they are. You could switch, you can go home right now, you could switch tomorrow if you want on your own.
And I just don't understand why we would use, like, not take it in the wrong way, a middleman for that. What can we go to Central Hudson and say, you know, I'm just say, give us best rates?
You
know,
can.
why would?
You can, I mean, well, when you say you, do you mean the municipality?
Yes, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so the municipality can do that now for the municipal buildings and energy load, and you can do
But not
that.
for the residents.
Which we
But
do.
not on behalf of the residents.
Okay.
That's where community choice aggregation comes in.
Right.
And you do not have to choose to aggregate sort of with the municipalities I just mentioned earlier. You could choose to aggregate with a different group. But I would encourage you to sort of team up, for lack of a better term, because going to market with a broader group of a bigger set of demand will get you a better price than going alone, most likely.
Can individuals sign up with you without the government being involved, without the town board acting?
No.
And so,
To be clear, Renewable Highlands is not an energy supplier. We're a nonprofit simply doing meetings like these, or trying to organize the structure of this program.
go where?
For lower rates.
What do you mean to go where?
The what?
They're basically the salesman.
If they're not the company, then
Yeah.
they're trying to sell this for who? For what?
They'll put an RFP out for whoever.
So
better-
we'll
Who
help the
puts the
municipal.
RFP out?
We and this company, Jewel Assets, that's equipped to do the administrator role that I was describing earlier, will work together to help the municipalities that choose to participate to put out an RFP to the energy suppliers in the market.
Okay. Citizens, individual citizens, like I have my own house and I pay my electric bill. I can't choose to do that by myself?
Yeah, you can. You can
No.
go-
You can.
Yeah.
I can call Jewel, whatever it is, up and
No, you can go right in.
get the benefit of the reduction.
No.
You can go on the Public Service Commission, or like Ann said, there's somebody over Vassar that sells it.
Yeah, there's,
3 or 4 other companies easily that sell it. You could,
Yeah.
you could go home tonight and go on Public Service.
Yeah.
And pick a different company if you want it.
One point that might help with what you're asking is, you have the ability to go out and get your own price now. But what this whole program is designed to do is aggregate. So to create sort of a pooled demand to go out and get a better price, like the larger customers, whoever the large companies might be, that can negotiate with individual suppliers on their own because they buy enough power to get a discount. As an individual, we generally don't. So it doesn't really work to try it. The way the tool is drawn is that it works through the municipalities and it works on home rule. So you can't go to the county government and just get the whole county involved. You have to go municipality by municipality. And we saw that as something that, would be helpful to the area if municipalities wanted to participate in a program like this to get that started. So that's what we're doing.
Mike, talk about your organization, the structure of your organization, who's who, where.
It's very grassroots. It started out of a group called Renewable Phillipstown, which was even more grassroots, just sort of Saturday morning kind of get-togethers to talk about what we could do. It's a group that's quote-unquote fiscally sponsored by the Open Space Institute's Citizen Action Program. And so that's a program that enables, literally groups of interested citizens to get together and then operate with some administrative capacity through the Open Space Institute to go out and accomplish a goal. And that's really all we are. There's nothing else behind us. we've raised some private money from individual donors, to help us pay for some of the costs of, coming to meetings like these. Does
How
that
many
answer your
members?
question?
Yes, how many members of the,
There's an advisory board of 4 of us.
and you get paid?
I am paid.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in the business? It seems as if, is it a fairly new business?
It is fairly new,
From
yeah.
May of 16, is that sort of where you?
Well,
Because
May
I
of-
look at what you said about Westchester, is that when you just hired on for Westchester? Was that your first sign-on, or have you had, months before of other municipalities that have?
So, personally, I have experience in the renewable energy industry. I've worked for a number of different firms. With this project, we started sort of organizing, I think it was around November, December of 2015, and started having conversations locally with municipalities. But again, I need to sort of separate the Westchester program. I was not involved in that. So the the May 2016 start date was their program. And we've been, working with NYSERDA to sort of see what the policy would look like, watching what the Public Service Commission did with the policy, and trying to keep the municipalities we've been talking to informed about how it's going and what sort of the opportunity will look like.
Gotcha. And you say that you'll save $4 to $5 million annually, and then stabilized rates for 3 years? Is that because you did again, this is the Westchester, I know you weren't part of it, but it's in this header. Is it that you've signed a 3-year contract, and then you're able to say, sort of can keep the rates for 3 years under average?
That's exactly right. So in the Westchester program, they say it's going to be about $4 to $5 million annually across the whole group. And that's based on sort of the previous average from the default supplier compared to the new rate that they helped negotiate and set up. And then the term of their contracts, I think, is 3 years. It's maybe just under 3 years. It's more than 2.5 years. I think it's like 2 years and 8 months in one case.
So do we know about how many residents, small businesses are in that unit in Westchester? How much? I'm just curious, how big of a savings is the individual seeing?
Oh, I see your question.
Because, I mean,
The-
$4 million in savings spread over 1 million persons is $4, so, it's,
And that's exactly
Yeah.
right. I mean, electricity supply rates generally, that's the way it works, yeah. But so on a sort of individual basis, the best way to think about it is in terms of percentage. So I think on one side of their group that had, they have 2 suppliers. So on one of them, I think it was 12% savings, and then on the other, I think it was 10% savings.
Okay. So it's noticeable. And
is
also,
noticeable.
too, what percentage of their suppliers in Westchester's are renewable? Because I take it that comes out of our own RFP as to what percentage we want suppliers are renewable energy versus traditional power plants.
I see what you're saying. I think, can I answer with an asterisk again, because I want to check with them, but I think it was 14 of 20 municipalities chose the greener option.
Okay,
And I think the savings there were a little bit lower
Okay.
in that case, but not tremendously lower. But I need to follow up with them to get that right.
yeah, well, I'm afraid it's gonna be a little bit painful to switch completely over to renewables. There's gonna be a cost in it, yeah.
Yeah, Mike, how do you get paid? I thought it was just a RFP that you use. How do you get paid?
Me personally?
Yeah.
So right now, we've raised money from private individuals just for Renewable Highlands, this local nonprofit group. So I get paid through that. And then, how does the administrator get paid? It would come through,
There's a percent off the top, right?
yeah. Is that enough? Is that sufficient? Or, do you want me to explain it more?
I'd like to know more.
Yeah, okay.
He
So,
said they get like a 10% discount.
Yeah.
They may take 1% off the
Okay.
top.
and to be clear, that's not coming to Renewable Highlands. We're not the administrator.
Yeah.
It would go to the group we would recommend it is Jewel Assets, because they would be the administrator.
As a resident, sometimes I'm like the government trying to push something that I don't want to do, it's, it's hard to push to residents something that the government is saying, okay, it's like, you can't smoke in the park, and obviously people don't like that, so this is similar to
It's a
that.
hard sell factor, Joe, because
Yeah.
exactly what you said, because people, all of a sudden, the government wants to take anything
Yeah.
over, the first thing people think is, what are you trying to get out of it for us?
Right,
You know, Well, we sort of do this when we did, work.
the winner.
Direct energy, when we got the energy for here, it was sort of the same deal. We got together with a group of people and got the best price we could get. And if you belong to any of these other groups that sell on their own, whether it's, I'll say Ambit, Meridian, or one of those two groups, they do the same thing. They pool their money together and they buy in. The more people they get, the better the price is,
So the residents can just say, no, I prefer not to use that company, so we're not forcing it on them. Hopefully, we're gonna be, I think what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna say to our residents, please take a look at this. We feel confident, along with this company, that we're gonna be able to save you 10% on your energy costs, which means a savings to you, and in order for us to do it, the more, obviously, the merrier to the party. That's the process to this, as I'm gathering, correct?
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
That's right, yep, I get it.
Are there any municipalities that are actually in this and actually have the numbers?
There are at least 20 in Westchester County that are.
So they actually have reportable numbers, whether it's 2%, 5%, or whatever it is?
Yes.
Yeah, you said 10 to 12.
I mean, from the relatively short experience we have trying to introduce this topic with municipalities in the area, I think, it sounds like you have a fair amount of questions about sort of the Westchester experience. I know they wanted to be here tonight, but it just couldn't happen scheduling wise. I think maybe we could do another meeting with them here and you could ask them those questions directly. Or, I could facilitate putting you in touch with some of the representatives of the Westchester communities. Whatever you would like to do, I'd be happy to help facilitate. We're not asking now that you make a decision on this, it takes some consideration, I get that, but I did want to come here and introduce the subject.
Always good ideas.
There's a lot of information on their website and it discusses the multiple public hearings that Westchester held. There was quite a bit. I said, not for or against yet myself. We just bought and opened up the door because the other towns, were interested too. So the bigger the party that you get into it, the better chance you got to get a better price. But your website and all the information that you did send had a lot about the Westchester experience and how they went through and the questions that were asked and things. So it did help. There was quite a bit on there.
Great.
And I'm sure you're probably looking at the town of Poughkeepsie saying, oh, we'd like to be a partner with you because of the population we have. Again, that's really what's the offsetting piece of it. And if I were to say to you, hey, what are the two biggest places you look so far? Really, it's probably Poughkeepsie and Westchester, I would imagine, right? I mean, I know Newburgh's population isn't like ours.
No, it's 29, 28.
Yeah. I think
But Mike, but do you also look the population of the residents that own solar panels too? Would you consider that?
That's a great point. So I think the way I have to double check on this, but I think the people with solar are treated maybe similar to the people who have just made it their own decision on who to buy power from. So I don't think they're part of the group that gets automatically enrolled, but I have to double check on that.
Because what I'm saying is, if we are in a town where, let's say, we have 30,000 residents and 20% of the residents have solar panels, it's not worth it. I mean,
Oh, Joe, you're correct, because that also goes along the other people that already opted out.
yeah.
Because, I don't know what that rate is either. How many
So-
people?
We were speaking earlier before the session started, but, I think the number is on the statewide level, around just under 25% of electric customers have made the decision to choose a different supplier. So that means 3/4 have not. And so that's the pool that we're talking about with a program like this.
And by going to the municipality, you get that 75%, unless they opt out.
The opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Whether
Yeah.
they want to sign up
Get
or
it,
not.
they have to opt out.
Right.
Right.
But to be clear, I mean, it's,
Smart idea to capture 75% of the market.
yeah, I just want to sort of follow up on when you say they, I mean, we're the organizer and we're here doing the meeting. And the municipality, with the other municipalities involved with the program, would be working with a selected supplier based on the criteria that the municipality wanted to set. So, and that's a very public, open process, that RFP process. So I just want to make that clear. It's not us out to sort of
I
track a
appreciate
customer set.
you coming here.
Yeah.
And at least broaching this so we have a chance to think about it.
Great.
And talk to people who are neighbors and find out what actually, how people feel.
Great.
Thanks, Mike.
And I'm sorry, one more question. And you said this organization is non-for-profit, right?
Our organization, Renewable Highlands, is a not-for-profit organization, and this organizational phase is really what we're focusing on. You know, implementing the program, selecting a supplier, that's where a group like Jewel Assets that we're recommending would come into play. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Mike.
time.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
That's the end of that. Now we have committee reports. Finance, nothing to report. Fire advisory,
Nothing to report.
government operations,
Nothing to report.
land use and planning.
Nothing to report.
That's okay. Personnel,
Nothing to report.
recreation. We're gonna have a open house anniversary for the senior center, 3 years, October 13th. They've also completed putting the new fences in Townsend Park. They just finished re-fencing Greenvale tennis courts today, and Sheafrow ball field should be done in the next week, so that should take care of that. And while we're on recreation, on Saturday, October 15th, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 3 o'clock, the Joint Water Board will be having a rain barrel workshop, learn how to build your own rain barrel down there. So if there's anybody interested, they can contact Cornell Cooperative Extension, 845-677-8223, extension 114, to put your name in for a time. This is at no cost, and you also get a tour of the new water plant while you're there. That's all I got for that. And that ends the Seniors Technology Committee,
Technology, nothing to report.
Water, Sewer, and Highway.
Infrastructure, yes. The committee's going back over, still on drainage, still on trying to find a way to bring it back to the board with more information. So we had a meeting today, there'll be another meeting, and then hopefully I come back to the board with some more information.
And we also, the leaf pickup schedule is out. It's located online if anybody wants to look it up. Has anybody got anything else?
I reached out to Robert Balkend about the update. He says everything is still the same as what it was. I'm just sort of looking for some more information to hand off to the residents. And I want to say I appreciate the patience of the residents of Over Rocker Road. It's not been an easy one, but things are moving forward, so we appreciate that. Unfortunately, the time frame is still what it was, but he continues to tell me that he'll keep us in the loop if anything changes.
And he still is on schedule for October sometime?
But late October, November. Also, the stop signs over here, I don't know if anyone's on Over Rocker. I'm also a proponent to try and ask it to be done at all crossings on the rail trail. Obviously, I'm not gonna go ahead and push for that, but I just like the idea that people are just very generous with the time, making sure that people are able to walk through. And I just think the slowdown gives people an opportunity to look and see it too. So it's working out really well. I'm glad for it.
We got one more quick one. We had Central Hudson came in and did an audit of the building in reference to all the lighting in here. And Lime Energy came back with a proposal on redoing all the lighting in the whole building. It comes to starts out at a project cost of $54,000 to relight the whole building with LED lighting. And utility, Central Hudson will pay $22,000 of that cost.
What's the savings if we do it?
I'm not done yet.
If we go, oh, sorry.
The net cost would be $32,000, but if we do it all upfront in a lump sum, the net cost is $28,000. Our monthly usage savings will be $1,446 a month, with annual savings of $17,355, with a 5-year saving of $86,000. So for that $28,000, it would take us about a year and a half
Pay that, yeah,
to
even
make up that cost,
That's something.
to make it, it's really knocked down the cost. So we should have more information before our next meeting.
Great.
Going forward, to discuss this further, Mr. Nelson. That's all I have.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adjourn to executive session to consider the following matter, to wit, litigation to discuss litigation strategy of the case known as Bottini Morgan. Confidential communications between the attorney and his client, the town board, based on the attorney-client privilege. And be it further resolved that there will be no action appropriating money. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Town board adjourns executive session at 7:38.
And we close.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
All right, so no public comment?
Well, yeah.
Maybe we don't have anybody have a comment.
I don't think.
Anybody have any public comment? Marlene?
Marlene?
I'm not gonna walk up there.
Arlene, is it raining outside?
It has to do with solar and this young man's presentation.
We have to get you on the tape.
Can't you hear me?
Nope.
No, not on the
I'm gonna
TV.
explain the cardboard.
You have motion to suspend the rules?
Can I?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Marlene.
It's in reference to the solar that I had installed in my house. What?
Name and address.
In the microphone?
Just name,
Just who you are.
just
Hey,
name.
Marlene Gallo.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marlene Gala. Is there anything else you want me to say?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Now you say what you want.
It's in reference to the solar that I had installed in my house. I think it's 4 years ago, December 3rd or 5th or something like that. Does that, am I tied into someone else? Is that what I heard him say? That I'm tied into Central Hudson and I can't go with these people? I don't understand what that,
He didn't know the answer to that.
We'd have to look
Yeah,
up the
we're gonna
answer
look
to
into that.
that.
We'll get you that answer.
oh, so I could go with maybe someone else?
Yeah.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because right now we're with Central Hudson.
Yeah. I think you could probably still opt out to somebody. We'll find out for sure.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Thought you had the second one, Marlene. What was the second one?
Second, no, that's it.
Oh, that's it?
You guys just want me to talk.
We adjourn to executive session at 7:40 PM.
Mr. Supervisor, we have 3 additional attorneys, and I was wondering if you would be more comfortable having the executive session here after Roger has turned off the tape and the recording device?
Absolutely.
Sure.
You're reading my mind.
Take care.